The Software Development Life Cycle SDLC, IEEE has provided certain templates, certain way to work and write the documents. That is, they have given you the template. So they keep on changing. Certain numbers were different earlier. Now things are different. So I'll tell you one by one. First is the Software Project Management, SPM. This is IEEE 16326. Software Project Management 16326. Next one is Software Quality Assurance, SQA. This is IEEE 730. SQA is IEEE 730. Software Configuration Management, SCM. That is IEEE 828. IEEE 828. Verification and Validation, Software Verification and Validation, that is 1012. Then SRS, Software Requirement Specification, the number has changed. It is IEEE 29148. SRS, Software Requirement Specification, this SRS is 29148. Software Design Description is 1016. 1016. The Software Test Documentation, it is IEEE 29119. Software Test Documentation 29119. And Software User Documentation, it's 24748. 24748. First one is the Software Project Management. As I told you, Software Project Management is 16326, and this is the template. This is how you are going to write. These are different headings. And the Software Project Management, this is an art and science of planning and leading the software projects. So it is a sub-part, you can say a sub-discipline of a bigger discipline, which is called the project management. So it is a sub-discipline of project management in which the software projects, they are planned, they are implemented and monitored, also controlled. So this all comes under Software Project Management, IEEE 16326. Then next one is Software Quality Assurance. It is 730. Software Quality Assurance is 730. This is the template. So this template you are going to follow. And in the Software Quality Assurance, we always do it in the beginning. So this is, you can say, these are the means and practice of monitoring the software engineering processes and methods which are used in project to ensure that proper quality of the software is maintained, is done, is ensured. So you see, most of the time you are seeing verification and validation. So this is the plan, this is the report. So let me tell you again that it may include ensuring conformation to standards or model like the ISO IEC 9126. Then comes the Software Configuration Management. So IEEE 828. Software Configuration Management is all about change. IEEE 828. This is, so if you want to remember, 828 SCM. So Software Configuration Management is the task of tracking and controlling the changes in the software. And this is a part of a bigger discipline. We can say a large cross-disciplinary field, which is the configuration management. So this is a software configuration management. The practices in SCM, this includes the revision control, that is which version is of different documents and the deliverables you are giving to the stakeholders or the users, and the establishment of baselines. If something goes wrong, the Software Configuration Management IEEE 828, you can determine what was changed, who changed it, when it was changed. So if the configuration is working well, SCM can determine how to replicate it across many hosts. So just remember, SCM, this is the template I'm showing. SCM is all about change management. Verification and validation. So software verification and validation, the number is 1012. So this is the template, the IEEE template. You need to follow this. And this verification and validation, the Barry Boehm, he explains the difference like this. Verification is, are we building the product right? That is 2 plus 3 is 5. If it is coming, verify. Validation is, are we building the right product? 2 plus 3 is 5, but the user is not wanting this. He was expecting 2 minus 3. So that is the validation. So according to the capability maturity model CMM, the software validation is the process of evaluating software during or at the end of the development process to determine whether it satisfies the SRS or the, you can say, the specified requirements. Most of the time people don't make SRS. So the requirements, you can say. So before, means meanwhile and after the end, you have to validate that the software requirements specifications are fulfilled. While the verification, the process of evaluating software to determine whether the products of a given development phase satisfy the condition imposed at the start of the phase. That is, there are different phases of software development life cycle. There are certain outputs, there are deliverables. So every time we do inspection, they review and walkthroughs. The software requirement specification, it's 29148. You have to remember because this is the first document you make normally. 29148. This is the template. SRS or software requirement specification is a description, is a document of a software system to be developed. So this is modeled after CONOPS. Now what happens, your business analyst will meet the stakeholder and he will get the business because you are actually getting the business. Then these requirements which is gathered by a business analyst is converted into SRS because requirement analysis, requirement engineering is done. So that is how this is basically a baseline for your developers, for your team. So we don't have the time or a cost or budget in this SRS. So that is how it has come from CONOPS. So the software requirement specification lays out the functional and non-functional requirement. It may include a set of use cases that describe user interaction that the software must provide to the user for perfect interaction. So functional and non-functional requirements are explicitly mentioned in SRS, and most of the time the SRS will contain a very important UML diagram. We call it as use case diagram. How the individual or the system is going to or a subsystem is going to interact with your system. What is the expected interaction? What is the expected result? So use case is the baseline for validation also, because the validation is done against SRS, right? SDD or software design description. The SDD is 1016. Its IEEE number is 1016. This is the template. So we also call it as software design description, software design document, SDD, design document only, or software design specification. These are the number of names, but the IEEE says it as software design description. So this is a representation. First, let me tell you, there are requirements. Now you have to code the project, program it. So there has to be certain design for which the coding has to be done. In order to make a house, you have to model it first. Then you make the house, no? So you have to make a model. You have to make an architecture first. That is the system architecture. Then you have to do certain data design. You can also do the component design. What are the components? Then you have to do the user interface, human interface design. So most of the time you'll see the architecture design. And SDD usually accompanies a architecture diagram with pointers to detail feature specification of smaller pieces of the design. So the architecture design goes to components go to the data design. Here you will tell the data structure, the algorithms, that is the PDL, that is the procedure definition language, flow charts. Practically the description, this SDD 1016 is required to coordinate a large team under a single vision. So it needs to be a stable reference, and it outlines all parts of the software and how they are going to work. Then comes software test documentation. This is IEEE 29119. Software test documentation 29119. So these are the different headings, you can say, or template. And this is just a glimpse of IEEE, how you're going to write it. So software test documentation is very vital. That raises any experimental activities to the level of software test. So you have to define the test strategy, then test plan, finally the test cases you are going to write, along with some fail and pass criteria, the environment in which the test will be done, who is going to get what role, what is the responsibility, etc. Software user documentation. So software user documentation is, it totally depends on the roles. People. For example, if you are giving the user documentation to user, it will be called as user manual or user guide. It is IEEE 24748, user documentation 24748. So this is for you. It can be for managers, it can be for the users, it can be for the software team. So there are different, inside your code also, you do certain this slash star, and you write the help. You write certain things about your function. So software documentation is a written text or illustration that accompanies computer software or is embedded in the source code. The documentation either explains how the software operates and how to use it, and may mean different things to people in different roles.